Hi everybody, welcome back. Thank you so much for joining again. It's lovely to see you all, and we've also got Lisa here today and Syra, um, as usual anyway. But yeah, Lisa, you guys haven't met, and I thought it would be good just to kind of I should have done this last week, but maybe touch base with just a little icebreaker, where you can just say your name, where you're from, or whatever that is, and just introduce yourself, so we don't feel as kind of insecure in a group of strangers. How does that sound? Yeah,
Good.
perfect. Whoever wants to go first, please take center stage. Maya, come on.
Hi. Oh,
Yeah, me.
sorry.
Sorry.
Go on.
You said Lisa. Sorry.
Or whoever, yeah.
Hi, my name is Maya and I'm from Sweden. I'm 48 years old. Um, I run a business with my husband and we work with, he's a chiropractor and I'm a holistic eco hairdresser and I work with more of shamanic transformation tools and I have a light Pleiadian lightwork healing three years course with me that opened up more and loads other stuff. And I had this like ability to see other forms when I was a kid, but I had no one to talk to because everybody said I was crazy. And what what more can I say? I have loads of plant medicine has helped me a lot to open up into the other dimensions and to uh actually what plant medicine really have done for me is to get really deep into my darkest parts, and also it made me not to be afraid of diving into the really dark places here on Earth and with the people that I've met during this life. And that made me, I'm not so afraid. Um,
Perfect. Yeah.
so I done some crazy things, healing stuff that only kamikaze pilots do, and I didn't know that I should be afraid. I just knew that I had to do the job. And I met you,
Perfect.
Felix, through Åsa, as and
Yeah.
she's not here with us today.
Ah,
She's having a dinner.
nice.
So she talked about you, and here in Sweden there is actually I would say that Åsa is probably the most uh and the highest and the brightest, and she's done. I haven't met anyone doing that amount of work for this universe. And when she talked about you, because we are really close and we connect really well and we do loads of work, um, there's not so many people on this level that you can trust and that you feel home with. So if
Mhm.
she likes you, then I guess I do too. So
Perfect. That's
um,
good to hear. Thank you so
yeah,
much, Maya. Yeah,
thank you.
perfect. Who wants to go next? Go on. Can see you, Caroline.
Okay, I'll
Smiling
go.
little. Christopher, yeah, go on for it. Nice
Yeah.
one.
So I've been on this journey for probably about 18 years following an awakening, which happened out of the blue. Um, um, I worked in medicine for quite a while, but for the last 15 years, I've been following my own sort of healing, I guess. It's been a slow journey. Um, I had no precognition prior to the awakening that I had any particular gifts or anything, and it was all just a fairly bog standard upbringing, and certainly no sort of psychic awareness or anything that I could be aware of. So it's been quite slow. and I've been involved in many different sort of, should we say, healing modalities and things, to try and crack um, my nut, I guess. Uh, and then I came across Felix last August, and it felt that suddenly the can was starting to open up, basically. I think I'd been stuck in the third dimension, and really none of the other modalities that I was using were talking multidimensionally. And so this has been quite difficult for me in terms of understanding what's been going on, the terminology. It's like learning a new language for me. And also getting to grips with all the shadow stuff. Because I guess I was probably more into the new age stuff. Um, and the early energy works, Brennan and stuff. So it's been quite a challenge, particularly in terms of my belief systems and so on. Um, and Dawn and Donna, who are here, they were introduced me to energetic synthesis some time ago, but I just didn't get into it at all. I didn't really accept what was happening. And it's only really in the last few months that I started to realize how I've been misled, I guess. So that's brought up quite a few issues. So I think for me, I come from a very mental background. That's been quite a challenge, really, and just trying to understand it, wanting to understand it, and I think I can surrender, but there's definitely a sort of a mental edge to it, and also very much aware of the duality um, in most things, basically, and finding that difficult to sort of really understand where we're going in that, because our whole society is duality, basically, and how are we going to get to this quote oneness as such? So lots of stuff going on. I think that's it for me.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Christopher. Yeah, you're doing really
you.
well on your great awakening as well. So congratulations. Give yourself a pat on the back. Who's next, guys? There you go. Go on.
Hi, I'm Dawn. I'm in Shrewsbury in England. Um, I've been on this journey all my life. I'm a space holder. I find it easy to hold groups and to hold space. It's one of my little things I just do and had lots of feedback on. At the moment, I'm currently holding an Artist Way group for creativity.
Nice.
Yeah. And I'm also an artist, and so I've got a display starting on Sunday at the Bear Steps. And I've been an emotional journey practitioner with the Brandon based technique of the journey for 23 years now.
Nice.
So I've been doing a lot of my own housekeeping, my own stuff. Thank you.
Oh, lovely. You'll have to let us know when you're doing another exhibition, and then we can maybe journey down to Shrewsbury to come and see it. Yeah, lovely.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing. Go on, Teebs.
Oh, I don't know what to say. My name's Pratiba, but Teebs for short. I've always been on a spiritual journey, I think. Always known that, but things have never really quite come together, sort of. Felix came into my life when I needed it the most. And just looking back on the past 4 or 5 years, I can see how much I have grown. I'm not like all of you proper healers or anything, but my heart's in the right place. I don't know. What else can I say?
Perfect. If that's all you want to say, that's fine. Yeah, no, you're doing really well. Yeah, congrats.
Thanks.
Thank you. Perfect.
I'll just go quick.
Yeah, go on.
I'm Donna, and I'm live in Shrewsbury in Shropshire. I don't know where everybody else is from and how far away. I probably woke up when I was 30 and just had a journey of uncovering ever since, really. And a lot of it involved my experience, what childhood and what happened, and uncovering that and all the things behind it. So yeah, that's been quite a journey. But yeah, I guess that's about it.
Nice one. Thank you so much for sharing, Donna. That was lovely. Thank you. Yeah. Caroline, do you want to go next?
Yeah, hi. Caroline. I'm 51 and live in Somerset. I'm a counsellor and psychotherapist by trade. Always been kind of labelled as the sensitive one, younger, too sensitive. Realised that actually then kind of, called myself an empath, and then as time went on, realised perhaps clairsentient. But was very much kind of academically minded when I first qualified, and then I started working in a hospice, and that changed quite rapidly, and suddenly realised, okay, there's a lot more going on. So that was really where I started to become more interested and more, what's the right word, I suppose, more open. And the more open I became, the more I could feel, sense, and experience. But again, I would say it's energy that I can feel, and I think I met Felix. I've suffered with mental health issues myself as well, and kind of don't know. I think like the two kind of have run parallel with me in terms of becoming more, I guess, awakened and actually looking at my own mental health and managing that. And yeah, met Felix last July, and although had absolutely no idea what was going on, I had that session with you and went, oh goodness, and I just went, yeah, just a massive connection, and yeah, a baby student, I guess.
Oh. It's been a pleasure working with you. I've loved it, every minute of it.
Oh.
So much fun. Yeah. Nice one. Who's next? We've got Silver, Jackie, Katrina, Syra, and Lisa. Take your pick. Go on, Silver.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Oh.
Whoever.
Oh, if you'd like to go first, Silver, that's okay.
I don't mind.
Yeah, you go.
Okay. So I'm Silver. I live in Hereford, which isn't so far from Shrewsbury. Yeah, how do you sum up your life in 3 sentences or less? Well, I suppose I've been doing spiritual stuff or healing stuff as long as I can remember. I've trained as a biodynamic craniosacral therapist and as a facilitator of family constellations. And I'm into all of it, really, everything. I've done quite a few other sort of healing spiritual trainings. And we're going through such huge transformation, and it's like every day is new, energetic. I mean, what an amazing time to be on the planet, but it's really tough. And yeah, it's really good to be here.
Yeah.
Cool.
Great to have you. Thank you so much. Katrina, do you want to jump on next?
Yeah, so I think I kind of started getting into spirituality maybe around 2021. But it was probably like a year and a half ago that I had like a spontaneous Kundalini awakening, and it's just been intense since then. A lot of like trauma and stuff that's been healed. So bit of a crazy time, lots of like ego deaths and things like that, really. But yeah.
Nice.
I'd probably say I'm more like what Caroline was saying, more sort of like clairsentient more than anything. But it's just been crazy, especially the last year and a half. Yeah, that's probably it, really.
Lovely, thank you so much. Yeah, it's been definitely dialed up over last year.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think it's probably going to dial up again in 2027 because we move through the different triads of the 369 progressions. So yeah, when we hit 2027, we're going to go up a notch again. So hold on to your knickers because it's gonna it's gonna be quite full on, as if it wasn't bad enough already. But yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, lovely. Thank you so much, Katrina. Jackie, lovely to see you.
Lovely to be here. Well, I don't know where to start really. I'm from Sheffield, and I had a stroke recently, which is
We've got you, Jackie. We've got you. Just take your time.
Okay, love. We did the healing circle last week. There was a bit of extra healing in that for you as well.
yeah.
I don't know if you watched the recording.
Yes, I did. Yes.
Yeah, good.
Lots of times. Yes. Well, lots of times, twice.
Okay.
You made the most of it then.
Yeah.
Yes, and I found I had a lot in common with other people here. The ones that said that doesn't that no that they that they can't make head and tail of it. A few people said that, and I'm definitely in that camp. So I and at the moment everything seems to rotate around my stroke. So I hope that's going to be temporary, and that I'll be able to. I hope not to resume where I left off, but to resume somewhere else. I don't know, somewhere better, perhaps.
That would be amazing.
Yeah. Get that intention down, and we'll work into it. Yeah.
Yes. At the moment, it's difficult because I can't write to take notes or anything.
Okay.
So it's amazing that I managed to get to get on here.
Yeah, but we've got you now, so yeah, you'll be all right. Okay.
Yes. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Jackie. That's
Thank you,
lovely.
Jackie.
Yeah. Lisa and Syra.
Go on, Syra, love.
Hello, everyone. I live on the borderlands of beautiful Wales, so somewhere between Shrewsbury and Hereford, sort of in the middle, so sort of touching all bases. Oh gosh, I mean, I've just done so much. You know, I've done my own shadow work. That's led me into healing work. I trained as a holistic therapist, went into energy work, and there came a point I basically went galactic. I won't bore you with all the details in between, but there came a point where I couldn't make sense of anything unless I chose to let go of my very conservative background and literally started to go galactic. And once I did that, everything opened up and everything fell into place. And now I'm doing what I'm doing, which is very much, you know, one of the roles I fulfill is as a record keeper, and someone who is retrieving our lost histories and our lost understanding of who we are and our lost understanding of the realities that we really inhabit. So, yeah, you know, the journey continues. It's fascinating. It's exciting. Yeah, I mean, it's just, I mean, what a time to be here, to be frank with you. It's scary, it's exhilarating, it's a massive adventure. So yeah, it's great to join you all.
Oh, thank you so much,
Oh.
Sarah. That was lovely.
Thank you for that.
Perfect. Go on then, Lise.
Hi, I'm Lisa Perkins. Some of you I have had the pleasure of meeting, but hi to everybody I've not. I just, it's difficult, like you say, where to start. What led me on this journey? As a child, I was brought up in a strong Irish Catholic upbringing. So to say I know about Catholicism is an understatement. And kind of, I'm not poo-pooing it because I kind of feel it was a good basis for who I am and how I am now. So, but I certainly don't. I pick and choose, shall we say? But I am a holistic healer, clairvoyant, have all the clairs, connect with spirit, and I also I'm just getting into, I have a strong interest in past lives and delving into that, and hypnotherapy, energy healing also. But I love being outdoors and working with nature as well. I feel that's where a lot, healing the land, and as well as healing people, teaching them the new way. You know, we have to learn to look after the land that we live in. We have to respect it. We have to appreciate it. But it's, my role is evolving all the time. There's lots going on, and working on different levels and dimensions, and gaining lots and lots of knowledge along the way. And I find it really, really interesting. And I have to say, there's never a day when I'm not surprised by what I can learn at all. And I've been working with Felix for, is it 3 years?
Yeah, maybe a bit longer. 20.
Bit longer,
yeah, no,
actually,
it's about 3 years now.
It'll be about 4 years this year.
Mm.
In the summer. So yeah, we've been working a while together, helping each other. Felix helped me a lot, and we seem to work really well together. So yeah, that's about me. Oh, and I'm a happy mum of 3.
Yeah. Do you mean 4?
Oh yes, sorry, darling.
That's what I thought. Yeah, mom. Okay.
Yeah.
She's one of my other mothers. I've got so many now. But we just don't tell the other ones about who they are. So yeah. Okay. So thank you all so much for sharing. You all know who I am, so I'm not going to bore you with my details because you wouldn't be here otherwise. So today we're going into the Q&A. I'd like to just start off by doing a quick protection, which we've already kind of set the space. I feel guided to go into the armor of God today, which has been kind of coming. It looped around last year when my mom had an aneurysm, and then it looped around again yesterday. Was it yesterday?
Yeah.
So do you want to just lead that scripture on that one, Lisa? Yeah.
Yeah, just bear with me.
So this is just a wonderful protection that just updates the shields, updates the fields with different relics, and we can work with protections in many different ways. Because I do actually have a couple of a question on protection from one of you today, which I'll get into as well. So yeah, go on then, Lise.
Just bear with me, I'm just trying to find 18:6. Although I am a good little Catholic girl, I cannot recite Old and New Testament just off off the tongue as much as I'd like to. Okay. So we ask God to protect you and us and your loved ones from evil and to keep you safe physically and emotionally. We ask God to help you to put on the armour of God and to use the armour to protect you from the enemy. Ask God to help you claim victory over Satan by putting on the armour of God, the belt of truth, the truth of God's word, the breastplate of righteousness, the righteousness of God, the shoes of preparation of the gospel of peace, the sandals, the good news of salvation that gives us peace, the shield of faith that protects us from our enemies, the helmet, the assurance of salvation, and sword of the Spirit, the sword of God that defends us in all battle.
Lovely. Thank you so much. Do you have anything else you need to add to that?
In every way I stand in the victory of the ascension and the glorification of our God, whereby all the principalities and powers were made. I claim my place in God as victorious with him over all the enemies of my soul. Blessed Holy Spirit, I pray that you will fill me with your light and love.
Amen. Lovely. Thank you so much. Yeah, that's perfect. So there is, we had a kind of clearing that we did Wednesday. It was Wednesday, wasn't it? Where this actually came up. And I was actually having a session with Lisa that day, and one of my questions was, why do I find it so difficult to see clearly? And this then opened the field to present to me a set of kind of multiple things actually through the indigo lens. There was a kind of goat being principality that is actually connected into a machinery structure that was quite high up in the fields. And this then progressed into a kind of exorcism. So within that healing, I am very much a throw myself into the deep end kind of person with these kinds of things. And I surrendered. Now, the reason why I do this is because I've fully committed my life to God. I've fully committed. I've surrendered my body as a vessel for God to work through, however that may look. And this agreement, this consent, and this surrendering of the body automatically gives complete dominion to the light to work through you. And that is the ultimate protection. So when you kind of surrender yourself through whatever it is, so for me, it was through drug addiction, it was through all kinds of mental health acuities and craziness. When I got to that point that I couldn't go on, I handed it over. And this is when everything changed for me. And nothing ever has latched in, nothing has ever kind of infiltrated my awareness. And if it does come in, it sits there for a day or two maximum, if that. Sometimes it's only after about 6 hours and then it's kind of fades away. What happens with that is you have a choice as to how you are going to interact with this negative imprint, this negative structure that's kind of can be seen on one side, it's attacking you, but on the other side, it's also a part of that's attracted to a part of your own energy, and it's giving you a lesson to overcome something about your own energy that's ready to evolve. So when we're dealing with the ultimate protection, number one, having committed yourself to God, you are always, always, always safe, no matter what. no matter what the belief systems is. But then number two, it's about understanding your role within that interaction. So if you fall into the belief system that you are going to be under attack, or you are going to be kind of latched into and it will perpetuate, holding the belief system that you're under attack kind of opens the door for these things to come in and sit within your field for a longer time. Now, the next phase of that is, as you're kind of processing the information that is feeding into your field, because it comes in almost as if like a holographic insert and an imprint that's being pushed into your awareness. If you sit there and engage with it, it's going to enmesh itself further into your energy fields, which then distorts the mind. It tries to take over the mind somewhat. But if you sit there in a neutral space, it gradually just starts to phase through you. And you recognize in that moment that you are not it. And it begins to decompress and fade away once again, because your truth is, it's not in alignment with your truth. Your truth is in God. And therefore it starts to rebuke itself, because your understanding changes the platform or the geometric anchor structure for it to latch into you. Okay. So also, when dealing with negatives as well, a couple of things to add to that are the guidance wouldn't put you in any area of danger that was too much for you to handle, number one. Number two, when you are dealing with these things, this can also be through a training ground. And this training ground would be held within a simulation field where you are simulated the experience of something negative, and it's kind of perpetuating. And this is to develop skills and develop the ability to overcome these kinds of consciousness. And this is a real interesting one to have to engage within, because it feels very real at the time, but you're also given the break point and a more slower response for these things to feed the information through you. So you feel a bit more calm in the process of going through, is this me? No, it's not. It's something negative. It's not me. I know this because my truth is love. And this thing is not coming from a place of love. So therefore, how can it be me? You know, and this then gives you the process of breaking down. And this can be done with any frequency, really. It goes interchangeable with any kind of healing, to always kind of bring yourself back to your who are you really? What is your truth? And knowing thyself in the process acts as the greatest shield of all, really. Okay. Okay, so that's what I've got to say about the protection and the negative presence. Caroline, you asked about how long should a meditation and prayer be each day. This is subjective, so it depends on the person and it depends on the situation. If you're having a real shitty day, sometimes you want to double up the prayers and just go through it over and over again. If you're working with clients, you do a quick field clearing after each client, and you just wash down and then prepare yourself for the next one coming in. If you've got 10 minutes, you run light through your system, disconnect all cords, disconnect their energy, send it back with love and kindness, and then know that it's not your information to be holding on to. And then you seal up, reprotect, and go back in again for your next client. Okay, and the concentration, what I feel like with this, with you, is when you're kind of sitting there and you're getting these urges, these thoughts and feelings that are kind of taking over, this is the prime information that you should be looking at, because this is where all the blockages are going to be held. That's why it's making you feel uncomfortable. That's why it's making you kind of come out of your meditation and into an awakeness, because it's trying to process through your energy system. And that's what kind of pulls you out of trance, and then you can't concentrate, so to speak.
So what I'm meditating, where I am trying to go, if I'm getting interrupted by intrusive thoughts,
yeah,
they're trying to pull me out, whereas actually that's where I should be extra double down focusing. Is that right?
Okay, so if the intrusive thoughts come in, like the negative presence, recognizing that this is not you, but it's trying to it's interacting with a part of a vibrational aspect of yourself that's split off and become semi-suppressed. Okay, so as it's gone into semi-suppression, this part is going to be triggered, which is then allowing this thought form to kind of come in and connect to that. This then comes up to the surface. You're able to read it if you sit with it. And through the sitting with the discomfort, it begins to transmute.
Right, gotcha.
Okay, yeah. So it's knowing that these things can't hurt you and just allowing it to recirculate through, knowing that it's not your truth. It will feel very real at the time because it kind of swamps over the mind, it swamps over the body, it feels very uncomfortable. And you go into a full clairsentient experience as you process the trauma, as you process the information, right? And that feels very uncomfortable. Okay. But knowing the other side of that, when you're coming out of it, it's just a part of you that's trying to realign. It's a part of your own consciousness that's trying to heal. And it needs to shed the uncomfortable feelings for you to get back to the 0 point, for you to get back to a neutral space where it integrates again.
Right.
Okay. That helps.
Thank you. It does.
That's a good, perfect. Okay.
Thank you.
Can I just add something there?
Yeah.
And it's purely down to the individual as well as everything that you said there, totally bang on board with as well. But me personally, I work a lot with the angelic realm and what have you, and I always call in Archangel Michael for protection, as you know, because I was going through that with you yesterday. And that might be something that other people want to do, just call in, because we all have, it's not just about, sometimes, especially when you're at the beginning of a journey, you need that little bit of support, and you've not always got maybe the likes of Felix or Syra or somebody else that can explain it to you, or myself. But you think to yourself, you're feeling a little bit vulnerable. So you might think, I'm going to call in my guidance or my guiding team or the archangels, whichever it does, however you associate with what protects you or gives you comfort, just call it in at that time. And I also want to say as well about meditating, if you are dealing with clients, it's not about the not about the amount of meditation or the length of time for me. It's about the quality. And it's about, a lot of people think, oh, if you go off par and you're meditating and you're suddenly drawn to somebody knocking on the door, or I forgot to put shaving foam on my shopping list for Sainsbury's, whatever that is, as long as you bring yourself back in and go straight into it, it's not like you've got to start again. A lot of people are under the impression that if the meditation is broken or interrupted, that they have to start again from scratch. It's not about that. It's about just rejoining and realigning yourself and pulling everything back in. So I just wanted to add that.
Yeah, perfect. I'd also I'll jump on and then Syra can go in on this one. So on a tail end of that, sometimes when you are in meditation, you can be just pulled off into something else, which then allows your conscious mind to step out of the way. The fields update, the emotional body purges because you've gone into a deeper state of trance and you can't remember what's going on. Then you get pulled back into the conscious awareness, which then allows you to recognize the shift that's happened within that moment. And then you can move on to the next set of things. So sometimes when there is more of a heavier blockage, that will happen. Or when you've got a set of coding that's trying to come in to reconstruct something, that will also happen because you need to be in a deeper state of trance to actually allow to surrender and allow that to occur. Yeah. Syra?
Yeah, I was just really going to add to that, meditation can occur anywhere. You don't need to be sort of sitting in your space, with lights out and going cross-legged and whatever. My best meditations are usually walking the dogs across a beautiful meadow somewhere, and I just go into a zone, and that's my best connection point. Really,
being at one with nature,
source fields. Yeah. So don't get blinkered about, oh, I've got to do it in this particular way. Find the way that actually works for you best. So we're all very individual at that level. So, it may be that you do it best walking. It may be that you do it best sitting somewhere in particular. It may be that, yes, you do sit on a meditation cushion and you put some music on in the background and, but experiment, find what works for you best.
Thank you.
He's got a question.
Well, I've got something to add about Michael. I'm going to put a link here in the chat. About not calling on Michael.
The family of Michael, yeah.
Yeah, not to call on Michael. Especially if you call him Archangel Michael, because they were held, him and his family were held captive, really, and tortured every time anyone called on Archangel Michael. He was freed a few years ago now. It's been a few years, him and his family have been freed. And he's actually now Solar Christ Michael. So if you're going to call on anyone, you can call on Solar Christ Michael. But I've just sent the link there if you want to have a read about it. It's been a misconception to call on Archangel Michael. It actually hurts them more. Yeah, that's how they do things, torture everybody.
Lovely. Thank you, Donna.
Yeah.
Maya, did you have some questions? Oh, you're on mute, love. You're on mute, love.
No.
There you go.
So when you go through the dimensions and when you've been in the higher ones, and how do you orient yourself in
I think I understand, yeah. How do you define which dimension you're in?
Yeah, and when you get back to the 3D, how do you cooperate with it better not to get this amount of pain in your body?
Right. Okay. So when you're coming back in from those different dimensional fields, you're pulling pain into your body. Is that what you're saying?
I guess, or I get aware of them.
Okay. So what I think is kind of going on here, I'll break it down. When you go into a different dimension, there is a color spectrum that correlates to the dimension you're in. You can look at it from that perspective, but then what you can also do is look at the matter that the light is coming in as. So if we can look at it from a harmonic universe perspective, from dimensions 10 to 12, it will come in as a liquid crystal light. 7 to 9, it will come in as an etheric matter, or 6 to 4, it will be a soul. The soul matrix would come in as a etheric, a carbon etheric matter, so semi-physical. And this would indicate what kind of harmonic you're within, and then you can also correlate it to the color of the spectrum. That's what I would kind of say to that. Now, when you're going into these areas and then becoming aware of pain in your body, you're absorbing the light into your field, which is then triggering the pain to come up to the surface. And this then tells you what you've got to heal, or where the frequency that's coming in is triggering the part of your body that is asking to be healed and reviewed. And it's a case of kind of going into that and pulling the memory out of it. Once you've got the memory coming up out of this, and this can just be even just a small amount at first, it then starts to decompress the information, right? So it decompresses, breaks down, and then starts to create an opening, and this allows light to flow through it, so it becomes less painful. Okay. And this can sit in multiple layers of the body as well. So, yeah. Okay. Was that everything on that question? I think it was.
Probably not, but it was a lot.
Good. Okay. Well, you can get the replay back to that, love. Yeah, no worries. Yeah, you're welcome. No worries. Who's next? Silva?
Yeah, and the last couple of meditations I've attended of yours, Felix,
Yeah.
you talked about King Arthur
Yes.
and the Albion lines,
Yes.
and it sounds fascinating. And I wonder if you could explain a bit more about that.
Okay. That one, yeah, I'm glad that Cyra's here as well because she's a master of the history here. So, with my interpretation of this, last year, I received the Ruby Templar, and then I kind of referred to Cyra actually on this one, I think, about the Ruby Templar and what it kind of does without knowing too much as to where it went. And then as that Ruby Templar came in, knowing that it was a kind of instruction set to correct a whole bunch of fields, not knowing exactly what fields they were at this point last year, not last year or the year before, when it got round to December of this year, the Ruby Templar came in again. And this was just around Christmas Day, or the day before Christmas, Christmas Eve. So as that kind of came in again, this surging of reptilian consciousness came up, which began the rehabilitation process of the Ruby Sun DNA template. Now, there are 4 people that came in to kind of rehabilitate the Ruby Sun, as far as I'm aware anyway, which was Akhenaten, Hatshepsut, King Arthur, and Yeshua. Now, many of us hold Ruby Sun DNA templates in this time now, and it is basically to polarity integrate and override the reptilian genetic to bring it back into alignment with source. So King Arthur's role within that, I believe, was to repair and rehabilitate the 11th strand of DNA. Cyra can correct me on that if I'm wrong. She's got a wealth of knowledge there. And through this process, this rehabilitation of the reptilian part of the Ruby Sun DNA, it's rebuilt something called the rod, the Ruby Rod. And this Ruby Rod rehabilitation overrides artificial intelligence, it overrides the reptilian genetics and begins to realign the noble masculine. And this was needed for King Arthur to rise to his seat in the Albion. Okay, so the Albion ley line is the seat of King Arthur. It is the backbone of the light body, the planetary light body. And that basically is the powerhouse that brings us back into our kind of sovereignty, really, from what I understand. I'm going to hand over to Cyra now because she's got more of an extensive history. She, being a record keeper, she knows her shit. So yeah, I'll hand over. Yeah, she does.
Yeah, well, it's, you know, in all fairness, it depends if I've focused in on it. There's kind of, I get information downloaded into me, and it's only when I focus on it that it really unpacks itself. But, you know, King Arthur is the solar dragon. He's one of what are called the solar dragons. And these are vast consciousnesses, and they do span, when I say vast consciousnesses, they span planets, they span solar systems. And we have 13 solar dragons that were very much involved with the Earth, as it were. And when things went, you know, tits up with all of the, that's a technical term, by the way.
I thought it was, yeah.
Yeah, with all of the fallen races, what was happening was the solar dragon consciousness bodies were getting captured into AI and things like that. So in order to preserve those consciousness bodies, they were put into stasis, so the fallen races couldn't get them. Now, aspects of this consciousness could incarnate, could take on a physical form, a physical body, and they did so at times. in the role of what we would call guardians. Akhenaten was one of the guardians. Yeshua was one of the guardians that came in. Arthur came in, and he is the solar dragon of the 11th gate, which is at Stonehenge. It's in the within the UK. Arthur came in after the Yeshua mission in order to try and really further what he was trying to do. It was a fairly failed mission because things had sort of really got too bad by that sort of stage. I'm really kind of like just doing a very quick summary, a quick dance through it. So his was, to a very large extent, his mission didn't achieve what it set out to do. And we have the whole legend of King Arthur and his knights who went into the Hollow Hills and, you know, are sleeping till such time as the land needs them and all of this sort of thing. Now, the role of Arthur is he sits on the throne of the Albion. The Albion is not, these lands are referred to as the Albion or have been in the past, but the Albion is actually the light body of the planet. So he rules, shall we say, the light body. The Christos, solar Christos Michael that was mentioned, he's another of the solar dragons. He is the protector of the entire planet. He is the protective guardian of the entire planet. Arthur has, under his guardianship, as it were, the light body of the planet. And there's been immense damage done to that light body over the years, and there has been enormous efforts to put it back together. I mean, Felix just touched on a bit of it. Enormous efforts to get the whole template back, the whole planetary template, which impacts our template, back into a healthy enough form that the Christos current, you know, the 12D current, can be run through the grids here and through the planetary systems and not blow a fuse. And we're at about that point now because Arthur is with his consort, because these solar dragons are always male-female. You know, they're a hierogamic union. And the Arthur-Guinevere pairing is taking up its throne within the Albion, the planetary light body once more, which is an enormous thing at so many levels. But, you know, we think of them as historical figures, think of them as very much like us, but they are these vast consciousnesses who have come into embodied form when we talk about them using names like Arthur. Mm-hmm. And they are, they're wise beyond our understanding. Mm-hmm. So to touch into those consciousnesses is a privilege, and it's truly amazing. Now, the Albion ley line that Felix talks about is the line that's called the spine of Albion. I think that the guy who found it calls it the Belinus line. There is a whole book on it called The Spine of Albion if you actually wish to sort of find out more about that particular ley line, which is just one of obviously many.
What was the name of the book?
The Spine of Albion, and it's by Gary Biltcliffe and Caroline Hoare, Hoare, I think it is, but Gary Biltcliffe, Biltcliffe. The Spine of Albion.
Thank you.
So does that relate to, Sarah, does that relate to the UK and France bit, the Spine of Albion? How does that relate?
Well, it's a north-south line that runs through the UK. They've only tracked it as far as where it comes into the UK from France through the Isle of Wight. You could track it further. I've got no doubt you could track it further.
So what you're saying is basically this goes all over the planet.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's part of the grid systems.
Right.
They encompass the planet. So yes, I mean, like, I don't know how many of you are familiar with Rory Duff's Emperor Dragon lines, which are huge dragon line, a huge new I mean, they've been coming in since 2012, huge ley lines, earth energy lines that have been manifesting on the planet. And again, I mean, he's tracked them all the way around the planet where they've come in. But yes, all of these lines will run all the way around the planet. What tends to happen is you have dowsers, who are the ones who are finding these, who work within their country, but very few of them, you know, sort of take it beyond.
Mm-hmm. Lovely. Thank you so much. I'm also seeing with that there is a control hub in the UK, part of the Albion ley line as well. So this, do you know much about that control hub?
No, I know there is a control hub.
Yeah.
Where it sits within the UK. I mean, the UK or the you know, the islands that make up the UK have always, within myth and folklore, held a very, very special place.
Mm.
And it's partly because the light body of the planet is its anchor point. We all have a sort of a grounding point on the planet, and the anchor point, you know, for our light bodies, and the anchor point for the Albion, the planetary light body, is within the UK. Exactly where, don't know. That's not being made public.
Fair enough.
And,
yeah,
it probably shouldn't be made public.
Probably not right now. Yeah, no, it's interesting because as you were mentioning that, I was kind of just seeing the control panel of it and seeing how it's interlinked into the rest of the planetary light body system.
Yeah.
And I actually see the throne seat there as well. The only way I could kind of translate it at the moment would be close to like an ideal structure or an ideal complex that's kind of sending all of these circuits through the whole system, and it's working as like a kind of hirogamic pairing, but also a toroidal field as well at the same time. So yeah, it's very interesting. Lovely. Thanks so much, Syra. That was brilliant. Wonderful. Anyone else? Has anyone else got questions? Dun, dun, dun. Can't actually see anyone's hands. Does anyone have anything they want to add or they want to say, or are we happy with today's Q&A?
I have my first question. Can I ask that? What is it that decides what type of energy form you are born into?
Who decides what type of energy? Is that the question?
What decides? I don't know a better way to ask the question.
So it ultimately would be coming from you. You would be creating the template that you would kind of move into. There will be a gravitational pull that's linked in with karma to who you kind of associate with, and who you've kind of got to work things through. And that is because of the gravitational charge that you hold with that group or that family that pulls you back in. So that's kind of what goes on there within family lineages. There's a kind of gravitational pull for you to go back to where you've got to rework through lots of different things. The forms, when you incarnate into Earth, it's not a transmigratory system where we go, oh, this time I'm going to be a dog, or this time I'm going to be a parrot. It's you kind of go through an evolutionary process which stays within your kind of category that you're within, as far as I'm aware. So yeah, you kind of stay within your form and your species, which then you just kind of evolve and evolve and evolve, which that species then, as we hit ascension, the ascension time points, is we then move through the regenesis of the light body, and we move the soul, or sometimes take the body into as the light body. So it depends on how much you kind of work into your physical body to become light or etheric. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Lovely. Yeah, you're very welcome. Okay, guys, do we have any more questions, or should we call it an evening today?
Felix, I just had something.
Go on,
It may be something, it may be nothing, but
go on.
I was on Facebook one day. I don't go in often, but this mountain came up, which is in Nepal, and it's called much butchery.
Okay.
Much butchery, which means fishtail,
Okay.
literally. But as I was reading it, straight away Machu Picchu came into mind.
Okay.
I just wondered, you know, is there a link or why?
This is that the mountain that you mentioned in Nepal. I'm really bad at geography for a grid worker. But isn't the mountains in Nepal, isn't that the Himalayas?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's part of the Annapurna range, apparently.
Annapurna.
Yeah, it's at Pokhara. I've been there. It's south west of Kathmandu, at a place called Pokhara, Fishtail Mountain.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So the only thing that I'm kind of seeing at the moment, there are some kind of like lines or currents that kind of connect the peaks. Machu Picchu, yeah, they connect the peaks. I don't know whether they are kind of specific ley lines, but I'm also seeing things that run subterranean lines as well that kind of connect through there as well. And there's also something on top of that, not on the peak of the mountain, but above the mountain. So say if this is the top of it, going high up into the sky, there's also a kind of spiritual plane of existence or a spiritual realm that kind of sits above that mountain as well. So my answer to that would be yes, there is, but it needs some more digging to actually understand more deeply what that is. There's definitely something for you in that spiritual plane of existence as well. So what I would recommend is going in to meditate on it. Feels similar. The whole temple that I'm looking at there just feels like unbelievably gold, and the sound tones that are coming from it are really blissful. And I really recommend you going in and meditating on that, because I feel like there's some scripture trying to download into you from there, along with there's like a meeting of the minds within a group or a collective of teachers there that are, you're also receiving information from them. And this, I feel like it's also relating to something you're going through down here within a certain situation that we both know what that is. Right? Yeah. So, you know, there is training going on within that that's trying to guide you to kind of work through situations and come into a level of mastery in dealing with the situation. Yeah.
Isn't it said to be the spiritual home of the Hindu god Shiva as well? The mountain.
One of the homes, yeah.
Was it Machapari or
Machapuchari? Yeah.
Machapuchari, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe there's some. What connection do you have to Hindu or anything like that?
Well, I was born into a Hindu family.
Right.
And Mum was a very devout Hindu. So I brought up with quite a lot and understand a fair bit, you know.
Yeah.
I've never really gone deep into it.
Yeah.
But always, I mean, Mum used to tell us the stories of the Ramayana and the Mahabharata and all that. And strangely, I'd pick up everything just like that, all the names, all the stories, all the interweaving. Don't ask me now. But
it's interesting. It's interesting that you say I'm not a healer, I'm not this, I'm not that, and it was kind of like you were a little like down on yourself when you were comparing yourself to everybody else. Here we're all healers, we're all special in our own way, but I kind of feel that this is the fact that you've brought that up and you connected with it, there's more to it. And I agree with Felix, I think you should meditate on it. And after you've meditated, just sit down and write things down. And it may not be apparent to you straight away. It may be a few days later, but you'll see there'll be some form of message or guidance for the next step that will lead you. Or might lead you to a place. And I just feel that that's part of your journey. So it'd be interesting.
Yeah. For me, I think the hard part is because of what I'm going through at the moment, it's putting a real block on my ability to receive anything.
Right.
You know, when I'm sitting down to meditate, I'm really not able to really truly focus.
Well, perhaps at the end of this session, if Felix has got your details. If you've got no objections, I'll contact you tomorrow, if that's all right, Teepa, and maybe do some healing with you to try and release those blockages.
Because my only problem is tomorrow, one of my brothers is coming down from Bath. There's things happening, and I don't know how long he's going to be here. So
don't worry about it. I'll just touch base with you and we'll arrange a mutually convenient time. Okay.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I do appreciate that.
Yeah, and can I just add in there? You mentioned Machu Picchu.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is the fifth Stargate, which relates to the fifth dimension and fifth dimensional consciousness. So keep that in mind. So there's something to do with that that's weaving in.
I've always wanted to go to Machu Picchu. You know, it's one of those places that I think, oh, I'd love to visit there. Sort of. So yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, there's something around that consciousness level that's pulling at you.
Okay. Thank you all.
All right then. Perfect. Okay then, guys. I'm gonna eat my jacket potatoes. It was lovely to see you all today.
Enjoy.
Thank you so much for coming. It's always a pleasure. And we're doing the group meditation next week, I think. So yeah, it'd be great to have you there. Okay, everyone. Lots of love.
Thanks, Felix. Thanks, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Bye.
Thank you.